Hey guys! In this video we will discuss about sinusoidal functions and also we are going to learn how to interpret the graphs of sinusoidal functions. Let's look at this graph. If ever we are given a graph like this, we see this graph is a periodic graph. Why? Because you see this is the midpoint of the graph, this is the lowest point of the graph, this is the highest point of the graph, and then you see this is being repeated. Whenever a function is being repeated, it is called a periodic function. Repeated means periodic. Other words, we can say it's a sinusoidal function. Now, let's go over simple meanings on this graph. Let's say we want to find out what is this. This is your max point. So this is your max of the graph. If I keep on increasing this graph further and further, I will see that I will always get this max at this point, which is 14. This is the min point. This is also the min point. This is the central axis. And we would see that this graph is going to be symmetrical about this axis. Now, the amount of distance that we go above the central axis or the amount of distance that we go below the central axis to reach the minimum or to reach the maximum is called amplitude, marked with A. The central axis is called equation of axes. Its representation is C. Let's say if we want to find out what is the A value, A is amplitude. One way is you can just look at it. You're going from 8 to 14. So how much distance are you going above? Similarly, you're going from 8 to 2. How much distance are you going below? Is 6 each time. You get amplitude. But there is another way to find out amplitude, and that is a formula way. You can use this formula if you're given max and min. It's max minus min divided by 2. The max value is clearly 14. Min value is 2 divided by 2. We get 14 minus 2 is 12 by 2, which is equal to 6. So my amplitude is 6. Let's say we want to find out C. And C is equation of axes. One way is to just read it from the graph. And we can see from graph, your equation of axes is drawn at 8. So this is your equation of axes. But sometimes what happens is that this is something which is not clearly read on the graph. If the graph is in decimals or something like that. But if you can read your max and min points, we again have a formula to find out C, that is max plus min divided by 2. Since our max is 14, min is 2, we get 16 divided by 2, which is equal to 8. So your C value is 8. And that's your equation of axes. Let's talk about the next definition on this graph. Let's say we want to find out what is time period. Time period is the time taken to complete one full cycle on the graph. So this is my one full cycle. Why do I call this one full cycle? Is because I start at the equation of axes and I go below the equation of axes when I make the graph. I am going to see where do I reach that equation of axis point. Here also I reached my equation of axis point, but I'm not going below, I'm going up. Now I'm going to keep going. When I come to the equation of axis point, this is the point where I again start going down. So this is where my start point is reached again. And the time taken from here to here is called time period. For finding your time period, there is no such formula. That's why for time period, we just have to read our x-axis value. We start our first point at 0 and we stop at 8. So 0 to 8 means 8 and this time is in seconds. So I'm going to put my unit as seconds. Now another thing that we read from the graph is the speed or rate of change of distance. Or we can also say how fast is this object going. Now always remember, whenever we are in a periodic motion, the periodic motion can also be called a cyclical motion. Cyclical motion means You're starting at an equation of axes. So let's say I start like this. I go to the minimum point, then I go back to my equation of axes. I go to my maximum point, and I come back to my equation of axes. So this is my midpoint. This is my minimum point. This is my maximum point. So how am I going is I'm just going in a cyclical manner. So I'm just repeating. I'm repeating myself. So I'm just going cycle, cycle, cycle. If this is the scenario, and I want to find out how fast is this object moving, because you see this is the distance and this is the time the object takes, and I want to find out fast means speed. Speed, remember, is always distance divided by time. Now when I'm going in a periodical manner, means I'm going in a circle, the distance that I cover in a circle is represented by the circumference of the circle, so my distance is 2 pi r. And time taken is nothing but one full cycle time, that is my time period. So this is my time period. Now to find out what is the radius of this circle, I need to know how much is this distance. And always remember, your radius will be represented with your amplitude. So my amplitude is going to give me the radius of this circle. All I have to do is now just fill in the values. So I have 2 times 3.14 times the radius is 6 divided by my time period is 8. When I put this all on the calculator, I get 4.71. And then how do we write down the unit? Because speed is distance divided by time, and my distance is given to me in meters. Time is given to me in seconds. I would write down meters per second. This is how you would be answering the questions from a graph.